what's your story? If I was going to look into an open door and just to see inside what is possible, I'm going to ask the question about knowledge. What if you're just mesmerized by thought and you took an idea about how this would look, that knowledge was really everywhere, and then you took someone on this journey to find it? Can knowledge exist without a mind? And the existence of that has to do with the learning process and the question of mind. And if you didn't have a mind to absorb that knowledge, could you ask a question? So what I picture is this idea of you're just spreading this almost like a breath of just wind about seeing where would this go if you let it go. And you came to a signpost and you had some directions, and this had to do with how are you going to get there? Where's the way out of that brain? And kids are there already. And then adults, sometimes we put these boundaries on how that's going to prevent them from getting lost and being okay with that. So how do you get lost in a thought? And where is that thought if knowledge is everywhere? So also, what if knowledge was matter? And for that sense, what does? And that pursuit of just seeing where that starts, where it's at, where it goes, it's almost like the idea that you see this small glimpse of what could be, and then you start seeing these almost like symptoms of learning. So what are the symptoms? It's like a virus, and this virus has to be contagious. So you have these different like shapes of viruses. Some are complex, some are helical, some are capsule shaped, but the complex ones are going to like land on this cell. And even from the standpoint of you have this DNA structure of how all this fits, and eventually what's going to happen through the lytic cycle of just exploring the idea of what that DNA can do, it just explodes. And this explosion is going to take literally a lifetime. And what that kind of does, it almost unzips this fabric, this tapestry of what it's going to take to bring meaning to this new wardrobe of learning as a kid goes through as they're learning, anybody really. And so this is creating this wardrobe and almost this idea that you have these seasons of growth, and these seasons are going to have different things, like you got spring going on, and then you're going to have, summer is just in full bloom. Then you get fall, and things start to fall apart at sometimes. They start to just go down, and then you get to these sweet spots, these parts in life that just are so meaningful. Imagine you're in front of this fireplace. Here you are from the back, and the mantle is there, and that mantle is just has this amazing fire going, and then you start exploring things like books. You start to create these stories of where they're at. And what this is doing is just starting at the end, and you start to hear more, you start to see more, you start to tell more. And then what's going to happen is you come up with this story that kind of archives itself. And what you're left with is just this artifact. How to draw out what that artifact looks like at the end of life. What is going to be that story? And I imagine that what happens here is that all of this is just playing in to just growth. So that everywhere, that spot, that original place was, can knowledge exist? And if it is in the mind and you get lost in that process because you're trying to find the way out, and the symptoms of learning are going to show evidence of the contagion. And then when that explodes, you begin to have this tapestry that really clothes the whole person throughout all seasons of their life, to really allow that to play a part throughout their entire life. And what I imagine happening in education as seeing this far, it has the potential of one small speck influencing so many. You can't see the wind. You can only see the effects of the wind because it does matter throughout the entire life, even until the end.